Okay, we have a funny one this morning. Fat shaming. Let's do some fat shaming. No, let's not. But okay. So um, this is a reaction to apparently Tinder making it so that you can filter out short people or people less than 6 feet or something. Uh, no, first of all, I need to say that I have never used these dating apps, so um, and it's like I don't want to use them. I don't want to log into any of those to check what I'm going to talk about now. So you might be if you want to criticize me for not knowing what I'm talking about, I'm open to that. That's fine. But I really don't want to log into or start using Tinder to do the research. So I will ask you if any of you have been using Tinder, is it possible to filter people by body weight? Is that possible? So I'll leave that question open for you. Um, while I say hello to the good people here. Now, this morning I have opened up the chat for not only members to the channel but also subscribers because I think this is finally one that we maybe can agree upon. Hopefully, I talked about Christianity and the introduction of Christianity yesterday, I think. Historically speaking, it was horrible, but that's not what we're going to talk about now. But I saw in the comments that people they don't know history and they get upset and so that's why those topics are only open in the chat for members. But this one is a little bit more not as controversial, I hope, but you never know. These days, I think everything is controversial. But so again, my question is if you have used Tinder, because I have not. So I will ask you if you have used Tinder, is it like can you put this in preferences or filters so that some body weight so let's say you're a man and you put a body weight there and you don't want anyone appearing that is heavier than that. Can you do that? Um, so we will assume that you can't do that because it was in the news yesterday that, or was it this morning? Last night, I think, that on Tinder, which I suppose is the most commonly used dating app, on Tinder you can now filter by height. And it said that since women seem to prefer men who are, well, not short, at least that's what people think. I guess they will use this filter and short men will have no chance on that dating app. Now, I will say that again, I'm so old now. So back in the old days, there were no dating apps. You actually had to walk up to girls and talk to them. So yeah. But anyway, it's indecisive here whether there is such a filter on weight. But my point here is simply that you know um, I think it comes as no surprise that men seem to prefer, well, slender women, you know, women who are kind of women who doesn't have a very high body weight. I think that's quite common. It's not cruel to say that. I think that's just how the world is, I think. But also, let's look at some statistics here before we move on. Because I think that if women start filtering out men who are short, and by the way, I'm not short, I was 180 centimeters. Now I'm 179. Must be all the heavy squatting that has made me shrink a centimeter. But so I'm not short myself. So that I have no personal um, grievances in this regard. Uh, so let's see at some statistics, because these preferences, they don't fit at all with the real world. And I will say also that, when you have these dating apps, I think what happens is that, uh, and you can put these filters in there, you filter out a lot of people who would be a good match, because if you think about it in real life, you don't really go up to men and measure their height. You don't filter out girls because of if their assumed body weight. Like, for instance, in my uh, social environment, I'm a powerlifter, so uh, a lot of the women in powerlifting, I will guess, are a bit heavier because they are athletic, like they have built some muscle. So that filter would filter out those women who are clearly, well, they are heavier, but they're clearly, they're not fat, So, like, but let's look at some statistics here. Um, First, height. So in Norway, the medium height, the average male height, is 179.7 centimeters. That's 5 feet, 10.5 inches. So I'm actually 7 millimeters less than that. Um, So for women, it's 167 centimeters, which is 5 feet and 5.5 inches. And we can go down here, which to the USA. I know how this works. Most people here are from the USA, and I know, and I could see it as well, that when I've been in the USA, they are shorter. So the average male height is 175.3 centimeters. That's 5 feet 9 inches. That's the average male height. So the women who say that, well, they will date no man less than 6 feet, their uh, dating pool, so to speak, gets very small. For women, the average female height in the USA is 161.3 centimeters. That's 5 feet 3.5 inches. And we can also look at weight, because I promised you guys we will do some fat shaming. No, I'm just kidding. We shouldn't do fat shaming, but it's like, you get the point here. It's all a bit silly. In Norway, the average male weight is 86.6 kilos, which is 190.9 pounds. And for women, This is more than I had expected. It's 71.6 kilos, 157.9 pounds. And I think it should come as no surprise that in the USA, wow, the average weight for men in the USA is 199.7 pounds. That's 90.6 kilos. And for women, and this was a bit of a shock to me, 77.5 kilos. 77.5 kilos. That's the average weight for women in the USA. That's 170.9 pounds. And these numbers are from have gathered through 2015 to 2018. So it's probably more than that now, and especially for women here, that's a lot. That's a lot. So, yeah, it's like, as I said, if a woman asks you, how tall are you? Your reply should be, how heavy are you? That will make you popular. So let's see here if anyone here in the chat has replied here. My question is, since I've never used these dating apps, can you filter, now that Tinder has made it possible to filter out people who are shorter than, let's say it's 6 feet. Can you filter out people from body weight? Can you do that? Because it's like, why not? If they're going to be that superficial, why not also do some fat shaming? Why not? Um, so, so maybe there are nobody here who's been on Tinder, but yeah. I will say this, that we have this view of Americans as being very fat, here in Norway, well, in Scandinavia, I would say, and that's probably because we don't see ourselves so well. We Norwegians have gotten quite fat during the last few years, I will say, and I should not really be talking about this, you might say, because I've been gaining some weight and I've become a little bit fat myself, I think, because of the body weight class that I am competing in now in powerlifting. It's not going to I'm not going to remain like this, but that has nothing to do with this, I think. Yeah, nobody knows about Tinder, if you can filter out people based on weight. But anyway, I think I will guess that you can't, because I will guess that you can't do that, because I might be wrong here, but my guess is you can't do that because it would be that's like, oh, all the women would say that you can't do that, and it's oppressive, and it's the patriarchy, and it's this and that, I guess. But I might be wrong. I think that there are two things that we should keep in mind here, and the one thing is that health matters, and unless you are frequently in the gym, lift picking up heavy stuff, you shouldn't be very much overweight. It's not healthy. It just isn't. This is not fat shaming, it's just science. We know this. And it's very simple how it works. And I think people should be more honest about this. People come up with lots of excuses for why they haven't, why they are too fat, but the reality is that people eat too much. You know, that's that's just how it is. And also, so that's the health part. And obviously, you can't do anything about your height, but you can do something about your health. That being said, we shouldn't view attractiveness as a you can't measure attractiveness. Really can't. And while I will say that good health is attractive and bad health due to lifestyle choices is not attractive, um, you know, I yeah, we should we these numbers they don't really say so much about your attractiveness. You can be overweight and attractive, obviously, um, but if you can filter out people by height and weight, I think it makes us superficial, and you miss a lot of opportunities to meet wonderful people. That's what I'm trying to say. Um, and yeah, someone here is writing that people are lying on these dating apps. Yeah, obviously they are. And I think that if you took the average weight, and for women especially, on a dating app, if self-reported, it would be far less than the average weight, according to real statistics. And if you took the average height, it would be for men, it would be much more than the average, according to real statistics. Uh, so, um, yeah, I know the American food is quite poisonous. No, toxic. Is it? They put a lot of stuff in it that is not food, that is not even legal in Europe, and it it it's there to make you eat more of that same stuff, very often. Um, so yeah, we know this, and this not to get too political here, but it was kind of funny when the new government in the USA did with the tariffs and all of that. Oh, Europe won't import our food, the food that we are producing in the USA. Well, there's a reason for that. It's because it's not even legal here in most cases, because of all the things that are put into the food that is not good for you, you know. But anyway, um, so um, yeah, I know RFK is already making Green-Eyed Lady changes by banning certain food colorings. Yeah, and should have happened a lot sooner. So that's great that they are doing that. Absolutely. Um, yeah. Um, Do you know, some people here seems to have been on Tinder. Again, I'm asking, can you filter out people there based on weight? Can you put in a number there for weight? Can you do that or not? um, when it comes to health in general, I think um, a lot of that has to do with activity and what you eat and drink. And I've always thought that if you want to be healthy, you should eat food that is food and avoid food that is not food. By that I mean that more than it matters more that you eat real food than your diet, And I'm someone who I eat a lot of red meat, and I know that it's good for me. I know that, and I add carbs just to keep my weight up. That's not healthy, but I gain some. Well, I don't want to get into details there, but it also binds water, carbs, you know, and that gives me an advantage in this heavier weight class. So when I've done what I need to do in this weight class, I will drop my body weight down quite a lot, and I will do that by skipping the carbs. This is not a huge mystery. It's not difficult to do. But if you believe what is being told by governments, especially, you are going to struggle with your weight because the health advice out there now, and this goes for both the USA and Europe, the health advice is not according to science. It's according to the needs of the corporations that produce that food. So I can tell you right now that if you eat, um, in English you call it organic meat and fish, avoid the fish that is full of toxins. But anyway, if you eat that and you add organic vegetables, you're good. You know, that's great. And you will be healthy on a diet like that. And I've always been a little bit careful with this advice here because I'm not a qualified. Well, I am qualified. I'm not going to try to kid anyone here. I am qualified, but I'm not a physician. You know, I'm not a certified physician. So this is not really a big mystery. If you eat like that, you're going to drop body fat and maybe even gain muscle if you move some weight. Um, that goes for both men and women. But if you eat mainly ultra processed food, now the processed thing does nothing to the food, like grind up the meat. That's processing the meat, but it's the things they add to it. Obviously, it's not good for you. And a lot of it is causing cancer as well. So avoid all that. Don't buy it. Don't eat it. You know, it's very simple. If you look at the package, uh, actually, if you buy food that doesn't come in a package, if you know what I mean, it doesn't come in a box, you're good. you know. Um, so if you have a box with cereals, which you shouldn't eat, by the way, um, and there's like a long list of things that they put in it, don't eat that, because if you eat some grain, I don't think grain is good. it's only good if you want to keep your weight up, but um, it's not dangerous in itself if it's organic, especially. But the problem is that they put sweeteners in it, they put colors in it, if we're talking like breakfast cereals, and they feed this to kids. It's crazy. It's crazy. uh yeah. um and by the way, a lot of the vegan propaganda out there. And you can be vegan. That's fine. I respect that. But don't come to me and say that that's the healthy way to live. It's not. So a lot of the propaganda, where they say that all meat is full of hormones. Well, that's not the case here in Norway, at least, because I mean, that data comes from the USA, because also the meat in the USA is less healthy than in at least in Norway. But anyway, um, bit of health advice there. Uh, so yeah. So I thought it was funny because now you can go on Tinder, and all these girls who have this stupid idea of how tall a man needs to be, 6 feet. You know, it's like it's good for the guys who are above 6 feet, I guess. But there's not that many of them, at least not in the USA. Let's see if we can find a country here where people. I think the Netherlands, the men there are the average height for men in the Netherlands is just above 6 feet. Let's see if I'm correct on that. The Asian countries, they are tiny. Singapore, 170.6 centimeters, that's 5 feet 7 inches for men. Um, let's see. Um, where is it? Can I find it? Yeah, the Netherlands. That's for men 183.8 centimeters, 6 feet and a half inch on average for men. And I don't know if there are any countries where men are taller than that. Lithuania is almost there, 5 feet 11 and a half inches for men. Yeah. Okay. So okay. Yeah, pharmaceuticals, I don't know how. I have no experience with that. But yeah, I assume, as you write there, that will affect weight gain. Yeah, that's probably the case. Cat C, do Norwegians keep a freezer with beef? Yes, we do. Yeah, I think the crown here is a ranking, Laura. If you've been active here, And you're also asking, is Coca-Cola and other sodas sweetened with cane sugar in Norway? Cane sugar? I don't know. Um, I don't know. Um, okay. Yeah, the crown is, Angela says, it's a new YouTube feature for the live streams. Um, if the Dutch are the world's tallest people, let me check here. That's interesting. I think there is a nation in Africa where people are very tall. Um, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I'll have a quick glance here. Well, I might be wrong, but it looks like they are the tallest. Looks like they are the tallest. And I have a friend in the Netherlands, and he once said they are that tall because they have to peek above the dams that are keeping the seawater from flooding their nation. Yeah. I think there is at least one tribe in Africa where people are very, very tall. Montenegro, 182.9 centimeters at 6 feet 0 inches, so a little bit lower than the Netherlands. That's for men. But yeah, no, I think so. You want to let's? I just noticed here that some of these island nations, like in the Pacific Sea, people are very, very big, like heavy. So I just noticed that. So let's see if I can find it. No, I can't find it now, but yeah. And I read somewhere that it's seen as attractive to be the more overweight you are, the more attractive you are on some of these islands. And it just goes to show that our perception of beauty is very connected to our culture. And I've seen actually in my lifetime how it has changed, because when I was like teenager, well into my 20s, 30s even, um, women were supposed to be very thin. And now recently, that has changed. And is it Samoa? Yeah, probably right. Yeah, stealth mode. Samoa, they are. Yeah, that's where they are quite fat. Yeah, so I've seen that recently. That the girls, they all want to be. Not fat, but like they want to have a big how should I put it? The part that you sit on, right? And yeah, cat. No, thank you. I am trying to be not you. Well, yeah, it's not a rude word. Yeah, hourglass figure with to the extreme. Maybe it comes from the Kardashians, and I can proudly say I've never seen any Kardashian episode on TV. But anyway, so yeah, a bit of fat shaming here today. Good to start the day with a bit of fat shaming, isn't it? What do you call it when discrimination against men who are short? Short shaming? I don't know. Dusty says, I apologize on behalf of America for the Kardashians. Yeah. We have the equivalent of that here as well. You know, I can think of several examples here in Norway. Yeah. So, okay. That's it for today. Have a wonderful day. We'll talk soon.